This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Wednesday? On a Wednesday, God, my week is all jacked up. It's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well. Hope you are having a great day, staying warm in the Southeast. It's going to get cold this weekend. Can't wait for that. We are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. You're watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We're going to have a lot of fun inside the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios with our friend Theo Fernandez. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _ on the Twitter machine, writing a lot of things. Yesterday, some baseball on BamaCentral.com, writing about Eric Hines at Tuscaloosa's own. So you can make sure you follow all of Theo's work right there on BamaCentral.com, and of course on Theo Fernandez _ on the Twitter machine. We are, of course, sitting live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We're very happy to have Derek support the program. Call Derek for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. And, of course, this program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. The only name to know for all of your roofing needs is Purple Turtle Roofing. You get it. It's a turtle. It's a shell. Your roof, your own shell. You need to make sure that your shell is protected. Purple Turtle Roofing will come out, give you a free roof inspection. Call them at 877-787-6635 today. They'll come out, give you a free roof inspection, let you know if you got any cracks, any trouble spots, any problems in your roof, give you the peace of mind that you deserve in your own home. So call them today at Purple Turtle Roofing, 877-787-6635. We are going to talk about lawyers and court and eligibility because Alabama made some news yesterday. We're going to spend most of the time talking about Charles Bediako today. I might circle back on the assistant coaches conversation that Theo threw at me right at the end yesterday. We'll kind of talk about some of these coaches that have a little bit of a hot seat on them or have a little bit of a spotlight on them towards the very, very end. So, of course, we invite you to jump in and join us on the comment section at Bama Central, at Joe Gaither 6, at Theo Fernandez _ You can call us if you want to be a part of the show at 205-462-7340, extension 800. On the voicemail line, you can give us a call. Let us know your takes on Charles Bediako. Let us know your takes on what you want to see with the assistant coaches. Futures. So that's going to be the game plan for the day. Theo, good morning. How we doing today, sir? You ready for a big Wednesday?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm very ready. I'm liking the cut. Just haven't seen you without a hat on here in a while. So,
well, the last 2 weeks I've been on the edge of not so good. My girlfriend will tease me and say, "You look like Bob Ross. You look like." Do you know who Bob Ross is?
Okay,
just checking.
Not that. Out of it,
and so I had to clean it up, and I told her I was going to go bald, but I told the barber yesterday. I said, "Hey, just take it as low as you think will look good," and this is how we left it. And he goes, "What do you think?" Yeah, you nailed it. So we're doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident in my haircut today. Theo, what in the world here? How old were you when Charles Bediako was here?
He was here my senior year of high school.
Wow.
So my senior year of high school. So, I mean, I was always watching college basketball a ton, and then especially about probably this time of the year, probably mid-January when I realized I was coming to Bama is when I really started watching every game, and obviously that was an easy team to watch.
Sure.
Right? So, he was here before my time, and now we're fellow students together again. Apparently.
That's the number 1 seed year, right?
Yes.
He goes up to Louisville and loses to San Diego State year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! I remade that drive again this week. Obviously we were through Chicago, Illinois, Louisville, Nashville, home. But I'll tell you, that was one of the longest and worst drives of my life. Not because of the time; it really isn't that long to get to Louisville. But just the utter shock the next day of driving back home after San Diego State eliminated Alabama. You couldn't make a bucket down the stretch. Their defense really got to you. and a number one overall seed, a year that kind of underwhelmed in the end. Obviously, yes. I hate to put the term failure on any year because Giannis Antetokounmpo, there are no failure in sports, only steps to success. Well, Nate Oats is maybe trying to take his next step towards success, looking at some of his coaching buddies, going to the NBA ranks, going to the G League ranks, going to the you used to play here ranks, or you want to come back to college ranks. And it sounds like Charles Bediako has enrolled in classes at the University of Alabama. And it sounds like, well, it doesn't sound like Charles Bediako is suing the NCAA with hopes of regaining his college eligibility and returning to the Crimson Tide. You know, we play on Saturday. Is Charles going to be suiting up?
That'd be awesome. It's just a crazy situation overall. First of all, January 5th, Hunter DeCyber wrote about it. Nate Oats said, taking away opportunities from kids coming out of high school, I wouldn't say I'd be one of the guys necessarily for it. That changed pretty fast, didn't it?
Yeah, 2 weeks or so, roughly. He says, oh, can I get a 7-footer that knows the system, that can fill our biggest need? I mean, one of the biggest regrets in the Nate Oats era for Alabama is Charles Bediako declaring for the draft and not returning for his junior year. Declaring for the draft, going undrafted, going G League route, getting hurt. I think he's on his third G League team at the moment. He got hurt before the season really got going. He ended up with the Spurs his first year. Got hurt before his torn meniscus, waived by the Spurs. Didn't even play for San Antonio. Made 11 appearances with the Austin Spurs, and in March he was waived, and then in March he rejoined the Austin Spurs. Then he was with the Grand Rapid Gold, which I believe are the Magic or the Nuggets, the G League team. Nuggets, so right. So he's with the Grand Rapid Gold. He waived in October, and then October 8, a little later, rejoins the Grand Rapid Gold. He's been on a couple of G League teams now at this point. Now currently, his rights are owned by the Motor City Cruise, which I believe is the Detroit Pistons G League team. But the man has reportedly re-enrolled in classes at the University of Alabama, and his attorneys, his agents, say he's looking to right his wrongs. Let's go back to this quote that we have in the articles yesterday from Hunter DeCyber. Right, I was reading it earlier. Maybe the wrong one. I have two different tabs here. It's probably on the other tab. I have two different tabs with the same story because he wrote it. Okay, here it is. This is from his attorney. The statement reads, had Mr. Bediako had more foresight to see the paradigm shift changes in the compensation for NCAA athletes, he would likely still be on campus for the University of Alabama right now. When the NCAA recently began to reinstate players with G League experience and even players who had entered and been selected in the NBA draft, Mr. Bediako saw this as a chance to right a wrong decision that he's regretted for the past 3 years. Official regular season games for the University of Alabama season have already begun, and the team has already started conference play. Mr. Bediako would be irreparably harmed if he's not able to join the team immediately because of the lost development and opportunity to become integrated with his teammates and potentially participate in a postseason run. That's from Charles Bediako's agents and attorneys. The NCAA responded and put out a pretty a pretty not very open statement responding to Charles Bediako. The statement reads as follows: the NCAA is aware of the media reports about a lawsuit filed against the NCAA by Charles Bediako. Mr. Bediako has signed 3 NBA contracts after competing in college for 2 seasons. The NCAA is not and will not grant eligibility to any prospective or returning student athlete who has signed an NBA contract. Eligibility rules ensure high school students get a shot at earning scholarships, and we will continue to consistently apply and defend these rules. And so there's really the backdrop and the setup, and now we get a choice, Theo. We get a choice. Are we going to be consistent and keep our take that you when you move on, you moved on. When you are out of eligibility, you're out of eligibility. We don't need to be having these waivers. I mean, I have been pretty uh, consistent so far in the stance of, hey, you've had your 5 years, you need to move on, or hey, you chose to go to the NBA, you chose to go to the NFL, you can't come back. We need to be moving these old men out of college athletics. We need to make this thing back to 18 to 22 years old. It's not amateur athletics, but we do need to have some sort of an age kind of not restriction, but keep everybody competing within the same age and developmental years of their life. Well, we get to make a choice. Are we going to stay consistent in that angle, or are we going to be selfish and say, well, Charles Bediako could plug right into this team, and Charles Bediako he and Aiden Sherrill, and you bump Noah Williamson down to your third center, and you play Noah Williamson 2 minutes a game now, and it's Charles Bediako really defending the rim and rebounding, and Sherrill stretching the floor. We could go to the Final Four. We could win the SEC. I mean, you got old man Charles Bediako, after a couple of years of G League experience, plugs right back into his college system. Nobody complained about drop coverage when Charles Bediako was defending the rim, because he was so fluid, being out on being out of the top of the key and then dropping down and defending drivers, making things tough for drivers in the lane. Do we want to stay consistent? I don't know, because like selfishly, you're dangling a lot of basketball success out in front of my face. I'm like a cat with a big old bell, and do I wave at it and try to play with the bell, try to get some college basketball. Look, the Final Four was one of the best experiences of my entire life. Seriously, I mean, you may laugh and say it was just a weekend, but it was incredible being out in Arizona. I saw 3 or 4 like high level musical artists that I've always loved at a free concert. It was a huge like kind of city pavilion area. Saw the Black Keys. I saw Mumford and Sons right there back to back for free. You saw great basketball. You were inside the football stadium. You had 4 different fan bases, and everybody was joyous. Everybody had celebrated like they had made it to the end of the road, and it was just incredible. I got to sit right on the midcourt line for the national championship game, watching Zach Edey and Donovan Clingan go back to back, go head to head. I got to stand on the court with Dan Hurley as he finally let his mask off and was a family man and was happy, and it was like, oh, there's another side of him. It was a great experience. It was an incredible experience. And if you can dangle that in front of me right now for this next year, it's Indianapolis, right? I'm pretty sure it's Indianapolis this year, which I'm not as big of a fan of the city of Indianapolis, but the experience will still be incredible if you can make it. If Alabama can be there, it will be insane. And so you're dangling this great prize in front of me. You plug in Charles Bediako back into this lineup. I mean, the guard play for Alabama has been really, really good. Obviously, little inconsistencies with certain players here and there, health-wise and availability-wise, but largely LeBaron, Aiden, Latrell, Jaleel Bethea, Houston Millette. The guard play has been absolutely top tier this season. It's been the post play that has left you a lot of questions. And if you could just plug in Charles Bediako, all is well. We're back to a top 5 team.
Yeah, Bediako's exactly what this team needs. You outlined it. I mean, it would be hard to find a player who you would rather have in this situation right now. Talk about the actual, mechanics of this situation. And first of all, yeah, immediately, the first thing you see when you go on X is, Alabama fans very much changing up their stances from
yes,
when James Najee signed with Baylor, from when all this other stuff was happening. I actually changed my stance on this earlier in December when I was talking with my father about the whole situation and just about
our fathers the best.
All of the possible roads this could lead to, right?
Right.
In the immediate fallout of this former NBA draft pick signing with Baylor. And there is no consistency. There is no world that we can possibly create where there will be consistency. So in that case, why shouldn't the focus be on allowing as many people as possible to make the most out of this experience that is college athletics? You look at the 2020 NCAA season, and we'll stick purely with basketball here. When you had a
Weird year.
massive group of players that were completely robbed of an NCAA tournament and told, yeah, sorry, this is it for you guys. When you look at a guy like Cassius Winston, right, who you lead Michigan State on a very good season. You're one of the NCAA tournament favorites. You went to the Final Four the year before. This, I know Kansas was the favorite. This could have been the year for him. And all of a sudden, it's taken right from you. Or let's say, I don't even have a particular player to name for this, but Dayton was a number 1 seed that year. Obi Toppin was going to the NBA no matter what, right? Like, he's in the NBA no matter what after this season. But what about the third leading scorer from that team? What about the senior who, oh, look, I'm averaging 13 points per game this year. I'm all of a sudden on one of the best teams in the country. This is as good as it's ever going to get. Maybe I'll have a little career in Europe after this, but no, this is my basketball career right here. And he got it taken away. And you were told, yeah, you're never setting foot on a college basketball court again.
Gut-wrenching.
And then you lose that, and you have all this money get introduced later, right? And the fact of the matter is, when the NCAA made that decision, right, in April 2020 to say, sorry, we're not letting you guys back. It was a fundamentally different sport, different product than it is now. And when you go through the whole timeline and you look at all the players who've made decisions about things like Bediako, right, who's right in the middle of 2020, which is the start of the NCAA changing, to now, right, 2023, right in the middle of that period of time. Still, those 3 years have sparked so much change. And I think any rational person, if they had known what the NCAA would look like right now, what kind of luxuries and what kind of amenities and money would be offered to all of these players, I think they would all have different decisions to make. You look at it at the time, right? You look at it through the lens of the decision that Bediako had to make in 2023. There was a legitimate possibility that he was going to be put on an NBA contract and earn life-changing money. There was also a very strong possibility that nothing he was going to do in Alabama over the next 2 years were going to change his NBA draft stock, right? That's usually the case with these college players, bigs especially. So he made a decision through the lens of, yeah, I don't really think there'll be real money for me in college.
And I believe, well, let me throw a pin in there. I believe that he had, now this may be totally incorrect, but I'm pretty sure I remember the fact that he was from Canada, the fact that he was an international player, he couldn't fully take advantage of NIL for some there was some reason that was preventing him from taking a real advantage of NIL at that point. I can't remember, and maybe I just made that up, but I'm pretty sure that was a factor as well. I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, that would throw even another wrench into it, right?
Right.
Even if that's not true, right? Even if that's just something that you've had wrong. Like, the point still stands. I mean, this is the guy who declared for the draft was playing a different game. He was playing a different sport in a different league. And I think just about everyone who made that decision probably would like to come back, right? You don't think that there are countless. I can't imagine how many other players declared early and they're thinking, man, I wish I was back in my school right now. And I just think that when you look at the fact that there is no way to possibly do this fairly, we should just completely lean into the side of, yeah, let the kids play. That's where my take is right now.
Let the kids play. So are you enrolled in classes with Charles Bediako? Is he in one of your classes?
No, that would be pretty awesome, though. I mean, I've taken a bunch of like lower level intro freshman classes this semester, and maybe I'll see him pop up into one of them.
Yeah, well, ask your friends. Start
Yeah.
asking your friends if he's in class with any of them. I think he's going to like. Here's the deal. I think the NCAA, we have seen it exactly as you said, be inconsistent, be kind of arbitrary in their decisions and in their rules and in their when they enforce them. Now, I do think that Charles signing these G League contracts, I think one of them was a two-way deal that he never actually played in the NBA. I do think that complicates things for him, but all you got to do, I mean, we have seen it throughout the last 3-ish years. All you got to do is have a good enough case and have a good enough lawyer and sue the NCAA. And in order to avoid lawsuits, they'll kind of let you go. Like essentially, if you're Coach Oates, you could have him sue the NCAA and you get a little injunction. We're not going to litigate this until later. Well, you can play until we can litigate this. Well, you only need him for a couple of months. Yeah. You only need him for a few months. You've got Darren Hattner is apparently his represent his lawyer. His tweet is as follows: "It is an honor to represent Charles Bediako as part of his legal team in this eligibility dispute against the NCAA. Charles seeks recognition of his right to compete for the University of Alabama. The NCAA's arbitrary and inconsistent enforcement of its eligibility standards is inflicting immediate and irreparable harm upon him. This harm is particularly egregious given the NCAA's recent decisions granting eligibility to athletes with far more extensive professional experience, revealing a pattern of selective and inequitable applications of its own rules." He continues, "Here's one example of NCAA selective and inequitable selective and inequitable application of its rules." And then he basically tweets James Najee. James Najee drafted 31st, 132 professional games played, 1,251 professional minutes played, currently playing college basketball. Charles Bediako, undrafted, 46 professional games played. That is probably G League. 979 professional minutes played, not allowed to play college basketball. The NCAA makes no sense. So you've got somebody commented 4 years granted for the first guy, James Najee, 1 semester denied for the second guy. So essentially, Bediako is trying to come to Tuscaloosa, get on the floor again, get in front of NBA scouts again, trying to cash in with NIL. Because look, you come in here as a ringer, and like I don't mean to oversell it, but if he's eligible, your post play. Like you go from a what would you rate the post play? 4 out of 10 right now? 3 out of 10?
Yeah.
3 out of 10? Yeah, right. I mean, I think
it's at least a 7 with Bediako.
Yes, 7, 8. Yeah. The 6. It's right there. You are vastly taking a huge jump. And I mean, I haven't put eyes on Charles Bediako since he's left Alabama. So like maybe he's washed. I have no idea, but you just would assume. I mean, the man is still relatively young. I mean, not relatively. He is young. Born in March 10th, 2002. He's 23 years old. How old are you, Theo?
I'm 20.
Right. He's just a little bit older than you. He's 23 years old.
23-year-olds in all of my classes.
Right. He's 23 years old. He's like, you got to assume, unless he just has eaten his tail off and he's 500 pounds, which I don't assume that he has. Like, he's coming here. He knows Nate Oats. He knows what's going to be asked of him. He knows the requirements. They're going to be plugged right back into old. Like, by the end of that year, by the end of his sophomore year, Charles was awesome. Well, his first year, a little bit of timidness, which is why the Angry Chuck stuff was born. We got to get tap into Angry Chuck, because when he was angry, when he was fired up, it was just like, oh, that guy's awesome. I think that this will continue to be litigated. I think that I'm still in a gray area personally, like where I would love to see it from a, oh my gosh, Alabama basketball just added a player that could really, really, really elevate the team. But you also have this is kind of icky. I don't really like finding loopholes in the rules. But look, it's a competitive business. It's a competitive, and you can tell me oh, you're going to the Final Four if you add Charles Bediako. Well, sign me up right now today for that, because Indianapolis is only a 6-hour-ish drive, 8-ish hour drive, and you can be there very quickly and enjoy a Final Four. Like Phoenix was awesome because my boss helped us all get there for work, but it was a little bit inaccessible to the Alabama basketball fan due to being on the West Coast. Indianapolis, if you can get to Indianapolis, you should, because it is right up the road. 65. You just ride for a little while. You'll be there. I think that experience would be even better than it would have been in Phoenix, or than it was in Phoenix. All freshman team. Oh yeah, he was incredible here in Tuscaloosa.
Big player, and you look. G League has him listed at 6'11", 225. Bam had him listed at 7 foot, 225. So yeah, I'd imagine we're looking at basically an identical build. He's averaging 4.4 or. Sorry, I lost. I think it was 4.4 points, 6.8 rebounds a game in the G League. And he just played in Birmingham on Saturday, which you almost wonder, hey, did that play into the timing of this? Did Preston Murphy maybe go have a little conversation with him on Saturday up in Birmingham? I don't know, but yeah, he had 4 points with 3 rebounds there against the Squadron. And I do wonder if that played into the timing, if that was hey guys, I'm going to leave the team now because we're in Birmingham and, Coach Murphy is here talking to me and maybe I should go explore this.
So you're for him rejoining the team and getting eligibility and playing the rest of the year?
I don't know if "for" is the right word, but I don't think there is a right word. I don't think there is a right way and a right take to have on what is just a crazy situation, and what is, if Bediako is allowed to play, going to get even more bizarre.
7:30 on Saturday night. It's 7 or 7:30 for Alabama, Tennessee.
Probably 7.
Yeah. You're going to have Alabama hosting Tennessee here in Tuscaloosa. Will Charles Bediako be on the bench? We'll start with a low threshold. Will he be on the bench?
Yes.
The place will go crazy for him.
Here is what I wonder, and this is going to take the conversation only slightly off the rails. Who is going to be the first school to say, yes, NCAA says something, screw it, we don't care? Who is going to be the first one to just realize that the NCAA really is not equipped to enforce their rules, doesn't have their rules to begin with, and thinks that, you know what, it's worth it. We want this guy out there. Like, what if?
The only reason I'd see pushback to that is because March Madness is an NCAA run event. It's a championship run by the NCAA. Like with college football playoff, the NCAA is not really in charge of the college football playoff. So if it's like, oh, Kalen DeBoer wants to play football player XYZ, who's amazing, who didn't go to class, and whatever the case may be, wants to play 40-year-old football player who's a cyborg, like, you could probably do that, and you'd have problems with Greg Sankey and the SEC, but the college football playoff, they make their selections outside of the NCAA. Now the NCAA tournament is run by the NCAA. So if you want a 1 seed, if you want a 3 seed, if you want to be in the tournament, I think that is what's keeping teams. That's what's keeping teams in line to listen to the NCAA.
All right, so let's just play devil's advocate here. What if Diego Pavia just refuses to leave? Why? What if Vanderbilt sits down and the whole program says, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna face a lot of pushback here. There's gonna be a lot of people who aren't happy with this, but this is the best thing that's ever happened to our school. Diego, you want to go be a 4th-round pick? You want to stay and you want to make NIL and you want to keep playing here? What if Diego Pavia just sets foot on the field?
Go, Diego, go.
Like, I think that's obviously an extreme example.
Sure.
But as we have all these situations, right, and the similar things unfolding with Chambliss right now, and there are going to be only more and more, and you look at how inconsistently things are enforced, right? It creates these situations where athletes and teams have a right to feel slighted. Why did Carson Beck get a 7th year, but Thomas Castellanos didn't? Why is TJ Finley still allowed to play college football? Like, I'm not making a judgment on any of these. I'm not saying the NCAA is right or wrong on any of these players. I'm just saying that they're inconsistent. And at some point, one of these schools is going to feel emboldened to go against the inconsistency, I believe. I don't think it's going to come here in the Bediako situation. I think the NCAA somehow was able to say, yeah, you know what, this guy cannot play at all. We actually are going to enforce it, and we're going to give a clear reason as to why this can't happen. And we're going to give a clear reason as to why it was okay for Najee. And we're going to give a clear definition of who can come back and play in the future. I think Alabama will wave the white flag. Thank you, Charles. We wish you could join us. Have a good rest of your career. No matter what, it is going to be an insane offseason. Do you realize how many guys are going to be trying to get on the college rosters? More so, do you realize how horrible it is going to be a high school recruit in this cycle, or to be I'm trying to transfer up from, this JUCO, or I didn't get minutes at Alabama last year, or I didn't get minutes at my college program as a freshman, and now I'm trying to move up. And it is going to be the most chaotic basketball portal we have seen.
Yeah, it really probably will be because of the different pools to get talent from, and just the rules of the rules of who's eligible and who's not. I think that will be crazy. We'll keep following the Charles Bediako story. I'm still in a pretty gray area. I can't decide if I'm for it. Like, I think a bigger part of me is like, okay, as much as Charles would be an addition to the team, and he would be, I think I'm in the camp where we don't need to be going down this road. We don't need to perpetuate the chaos. We don't need to add to the chaos that will be college basketball, that is college basketball and will continue in college basketball. But like, if you're Coach Oats, you're waking up and you're looking yourself in the mirror, and there's no hot seat at all. That's not it at all. But I do think that Coach Oats puts immense pressure on himself, and I think there's a level of pressure in the athletic department to be successful for the basketball team. I do. I am not trying to say that that he's not living up to that right now. That's not really the statement I'm trying to make. I'm trying to essentially say that I think Coach Oats is the type to, hey, let's look ourselves in the mirror. Let's look at all avenues. How can we get better? How can we, actually win? I mean, I think Coach Oats is, I don't want to know about obsessed with winning, but yeah, obsessed with winning and taking Alabama to the mountaintop. He said we're going to win a national championship here during our time, and I think he really, really wants to do that. And I think he's looking at his counterparts and his colleagues and seeing some of his counterparts and colleagues making decisions, bringing back professional players, going overseas to find professional players that are playing overseas that have college eligibility. And so I think he's feeling a little bit like, well, if they're doing it, I should be doing it too. And Charles is his easy option because you already have a relationship there with Charles. I do think that both sides, I think that Coach Oats and the coaching staff really were not happy, not with Charles, but just unhappy with the decision that Charles, was faced with. Okay, I'm going to the NBA, and I think that Charles was. I feel like this is my only choice to go on to the NBA, and now that there's a way to rectify that, I think both sides are motivated to end the Charles Bediako at Alabama story with a little bit more satisfying result, a little bit more fulfilling result for all sides. Because I think that both sides probably look back on, man, he left after his sophomore year. If you were here as a junior, you could have been dominant. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, we don't know. And if there's a way to rectify all that and bring him back and have one more semester and take you to the Final Four, I think both sides would be pretty motivated for that. So it's going to be crazy this week. I think that you're probably at a small point of resolution with the NCAA statement last night saying we will not grant him eligibility. But your lawyer here is just going to continue to litigate this and continue to Darren Heitner, Heitner, is going to continue to kind of take this up the chain until this is actually in front of a judge and get a judge's ruling on this. So we'll see if he is granted a little injunction, if there's a little place to get him on the floor. This season just gets crazier. We'll hear from Coach Oats on Friday, and I'm sure that he's going to be asked about it extensively. We'll kind of get an update, and we'll see if he's going to be on the floor in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night, Coleman Coliseum, as Tennessee comes to town.
Yeah, I will be skipping my Spanish class to go to that press conference, which I don't do often, but I need to be there to hear what is said and try and get a read on the situation.
Yeah, so we'll find out on Friday from Coach Oates. We'll probably get his first real official statement right there. Theo, that's your tiny homework. Ask around your friend group, find out if Charles is in any classes with any of your friends.
I'll see. We'll get Henry recruited on that too, and just try to someone's got to find her, right? And even there's got to be some freshman Crimson White rider somewhere. Like, this is a massive opportunity for any Bama student in media to, get proof of, hey, yeah, this guy is indeed in a class.
And if he is, how crazy. I mean, is he starting over Aiden Sherrill? He's starting probably.
No, Sherrill's playing too good for that right now.
Yeah, you're making it rain from deep, Aiden.
Yeah, Sherrill is keeping a starting job no matter what, I'd say right now. But
you play them both together. You play Sherrill at the 4, stretch 4.
I don't.
You play stretch 4. You play Bediako at the 5. You play Amari Allen at the 3, LeBaron, and then it's basically Aiden Holloway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Aiden has all that stretch ability to share a court with Bediako. That'd be fun to watch, though, in certain moments.
What a lineup!
That would be something.
So we'll find out. We'll find out more development of this for the next couple of weeks. Let us know your thoughts. I would love to know where you land. Are you in the camp of all the old men need to get out of college athletics, even if it benefits Alabama? Or are you, I don't care as long as it benefits Alabama, roll tide. We win it on Saturday. Hey, you got to beat Tennessee on Saturday. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
All right, so just a correction because the day is over, or our episode ended. Our episode ended with Charles Bediako's status still up in the air on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We hit end, and just a few minutes later, Nick Kelly, AL.com, our man Hunter DeCiver just recently wrote it for BamaCentral.com that Charles Bediako has been granted a temporary restraining order against the NCAA. On Wednesday, the restraining order is only a 10-day restraining order. A hearing is set for January 27th. But as of right now, Wednesday morning, January 21st, Charles Bediako is eligible to play for the Crimson Tide. Alabama plays on Saturday, playing Tennessee on Saturday, but Charles Bediako is now currently, temporarily, eligible to return to the Crimson Tide to play for Nate Oats. He averaged 6.6 points and 6 rebounds in his last year as a college sophomore in 2022-23. He obviously went on to the NBA. He's been in the G League for a couple of seasons now and hasn't ever really made an NBA roster, but Charles Bediako is enrolled in classes, according to several people here in Tuscaloosa, and he is eligible now, according to a temporary restraining order signed by Tuscaloosa County Judge James Roberts. So we didn't want to go ahead and put this episode out without issuing a correction. By the time I had left the studio and come back home, A Tuscaloosa County Judge James Roberts granted former Alabama Senator Charles Bediako a temporary restraining order against the NCAA. So he will be eligible on Saturday to play against the Tennessee Vols. We'll hear from Nate Oats on Friday. He'll obviously have some comments and some things to say about this situation. We'll see if Bediako is successful. His hearing is scheduled for January 27th, so just a few games that he will be eligible for now. Maybe he will be eligible for the rest of the season. But yeah, if you weren't excited about Saturday's basketball game, you definitely should be now, because great Charles Bediako is now re-eligible to play for the Crimson Tide. So we thank everybody for listening and for watching on today's show. We'll be back to talk about some more of this on Thursday as the story develops and as the story progresses right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
We're hanging out live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios with Theo Fernandez on the Joe Gaither Show. The program brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. Call Purple Turtle Roofing today at 877-787-6635. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. Call them today. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacement, insurance claim support, and more. 877-787-6635. Purple Turtle Roofing. You can check them out on social media. I'm retweeting their stuff on the Facebook machine mostly, and reposting their stuff on Facebook mostly, and you can see their beautiful roofs. Like, honestly, they make your home not only secure, not only keep the weather out, but the upgrade to the aesthetics of your home might be worth the call alone. So call them at 877-787-6635. Upgrade your home. Give yourself the security and peace of mind that you deserve by calling Purple Turtle Roofing. All right, Theo, we are already in the throes of college football off season. You've got the countdown clock is on BamaCentral.com for the season opener against Eastern Carolina. You have 200, what is it now? 227 days, 227 until Alabama kicks off against Eastern Carolina. And you asked me yesterday as we're closing the show, so we're going to recircle back to it, about coaching changes, assistant coaching changes. And I said, a couple weeks ago, okay, I think that the coaching changes will come after the portal. And now the portal is closed and the coaching changes still have not happened. Yesterday, I basically said, I'm backing off a little bit on the likelihood of coaching changes. Well, just a couple of people, just a couple of questions, just a couple of correspondence yesterday let me know that they still think coaching changes will happen. So I think it's pretty up in the air right now with the three that we mentioned yesterday: Chris Kapilovich, offensive line coach, Robert Gillespie, running backs coach, and Freddie Roach, defensive line coach. I think those three guys are in the gray area of maybe they'll get new jobs, or maybe I don't want to say we'll get fired, because that's probably that's a little too harsh. That's a little too rough. But there might be a mutual decision made. So they might have other jobs on. Basically, what I was told was just give it to February, because I believe the coaches are out on the road right now recruiting. And you go back to Nick Saban on the first day of the year when he was kind of getting set up for the Rose Bowl, was talking about changing the college football calendar. There's no good time to make a coaching change. Like, there's no good time to make a change anyways, because of course it's men and their jobs and their families and their wives. So that's not a good time. But there's no clean calendar break of, hey, if I let Coach XYZ Billy go, right here, well, he's in the middle of recruiting, and that's going to jack up my recruiting. If I let Coach Billy go right there, well, he's in the middle of portal hosting, and that's going to jack him up. If I let him go and I don't have a replacement, well, who's going to host, John Doe recruit 5-star? There's just, the coaching calendar's all jacked up. But I will go back to our conversation yesterday and say that it sounds like still there is possibilities of changes. It's still, but instead of right now that the portal's closed, wait till February when some of these visit dates, some of these road dates I think you can go on visits for another week or so. But once that happens, maybe there will be changes.
And you mentioned those names. Is Jay Nunez, you think, in the mix too to possibly get moved on from?
I haven't heard his name. Special teams had some bad moments last year and has had some bad moments for 2 years now, but really outside of the blocked punt against Georgia, what's really been his fault? Missed kicks? Are the missed kicks his fault?
It's hard to. I don't know.
Because I don't know that missed field goals really are his fault.
No. And I just think that special teams.
You gave up a kick return touchdown against Wisconsin.
Yes. I think that special teams coordinator is a position that should have a very, very short leash. Because, the fact of the matter is great teams just don't make those mistakes, right? And you look at a unit that was very underwhelming. And I don't know the mechanics on special teams all that much. I know you with your former experience probably can help us more here, but Alabama should have had some kind of success in the punt return game, right? You had too talented a roster to not have done so. It's just Cole Adams. Yeah, he avoided muffing punts, unlike Ryan, who did go out there and lose one. But what was Cole Adams' longest return? 13 yards.
Yeah, not that long. Exactly.
You really got so little out of that whole part of the game all season. You had, as Connor Talty, decided to yell at his teammates, that happened for a reason. Like, you had problems with the snaps. I don't know how much that falls on Nunez, but I also don't think any Bama fan should feel great about this guy right now.
Okay, so today, let's see, in-person contact through the 1st, January 5th, 31 is a contact period. Yeah, is a contact period until the 31st. So you guys can get out and recruit for the next 10 days out in person, go into homes. So there's just no good real time. February 1st, quiet period. February 2nd through March 1st is a dead period. So maybe there's a chance for you to kind of reset some things. But
that's the latest you could do it, though, right?
Oh,
then
yeah.
You start getting into spring camp. You'd have to do it then.
Spring camp, and but just from a personal standpoint, I feel like it would be like, hey, Theo, offensive lineman, we're recruiting you to play tackle, and then next week you're the guy that did all the recruiting. Yeah, we're moving on from him. I just think that looks weird.
It does.
I just think that looks not so smooth. And obviously, if you were recruiting Theo offensive lineman, you're already on campus now. You're stuck sort of until next transfer portal window. But I just think that looks weird. So
yeah, and then you bring in a new offensive line coach who has his own preference in these guys, and in theory, the guy who's
I'm sitting here at about a 50-50 here. Whether I think it's likely or not, but just some people that I was talking to basically continue to they think, oh yeah, the changes are still likely to happen. I'm like, okay, well we will see. We'll see.
Yeah, because you sign with Alabama, and then they bring in a new offensive line coach, and obviously whatever. Let's just play let's say Kapilovic is gone in a few weeks for a hypothetical here. You'd have to imagine that whatever guy is brought in is going to be someone specifically who agrees with the types of linemen that Kapilovic and Grubb and DeBoer want on the team, right? Like there would have to be a lot of continuity. Otherwise, why did he bring in all these guys, right? All the talk about, Alabama's got to get their guys on the line. And you can apply this in any position. Well, it all kind of goes out the window if you fire the guy who was building all of it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with the coaches. I would say I'll stick with what I said yesterday. I feel less likely that they're coming, but I don't want to slam the door shut on coaching changes. I feel less likely that they're coming, but I do think that there are still a decent possibility there of making some moves. Let's look at one more thing before we get out of here, Theo. And yesterday, E.J. Crowell was named Mr. Football in the state of Alabama, incoming freshman, Jackson running back. And really, you look at the running back room, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, A.K. Deere, Trayshawn Brown, and E.J. Crowell coming in. Katie Wyndham basically wrote up kind of a position-by-position breakdown of where you are on the numbers for everybody. If you're trying to keep up with who's still here and who's gone and who's come in, she's got a really good breakdown of who, which positions have which numbers. Just your thoughts on E.J. Crowell winning Mr. Football. Can he come in and be dynamic in the running back room? Will it take a minute, like A.K. Deere kind of sat down and, A.K. had a couple moments this past year, but really wasn't heavily utilized. Will it be the Daniel Hill show, or will E.J. Crowell crack the lineup next year and be dynamic as a freshman?
Yeah, I mean, he is a beast. He did crazy things on a high school football field these past couple months. And I just look at the running back room, and it feels to me as though it's A.K. Deere's time to be the guy. Like, I think Daniel Hill is a nice player. I don't think in an ideal world he is the feature back on the team next year. A.K. Deere, you look at this guy, he was one of the most hyped up players in the class for a reason last year.
Sure.
There was a very long recruiting battle with Ole Miss to get him to Tuscaloosa.
Gosh almighty.
You get him here. He shows you what he can do against ULM. He, he worked his way on in the field by the SEC championship, which obviously you wouldn't have wanted him there. You would have rather had, that was kind of for different reasons.
Yeah, injury, necessity. You got to play, son.
But, he's got a little bit of experience now. Like, you look at the lineage of Alabama running backs, right? A.K. Deere is, no disrespect to Jam Miller, to any of these guys that have come up in the past couple of years. I'm blanking on the 2023. McClellan.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
Jason
to
Roydell.
Jason Roydell or Daniel Hill. A.K. Deere looks to me like a much higher ceiling guy. A guy who can really, be a legitimately drafted NFL running back, right? A guy who's taken with the, this guy will start in the NFL one day. He is that talented of a player. And I think that Alabama fans should come in hoping for him to take the jump to being a high-level running back next year. And, I could also see a world where Crowell is working his way up and, the number 3 back after him and Daniel Hill, right? You want Daniel Hill to be your RB2, I think, because I think that's naturally where he'll be at in his progression, where he is a very, very high, like if A.K. Deere's 1A, Hill is 1B. I think that is a perfect world for Alabama. I just think that right now all the chips are in for me on A.K. Deere turning into a very, very, very good football player next year.
Well, I am a big fan of A.K. runs like a deer. I think that Daniel Hill will still have a pretty large role in the offense. I'm just going to be curious to see how quickly E.J. Crowell picks it up. I think he's one of those guys where you want to put the football in his hands. But, with a running back, it's all about How quickly can you learn the scheme? Can you pass protect? Can we trust you to pass protect? So it's going to be really interesting to see his transition to Tuscaloosa, winning Mr. Football yesterday from Jackson High School. What we want to do tomorrow, Theo, I want you to look at this list and look at the breakdown that Katie wrote, and I want you to decide where the final pieces, where the final shopping points are, because you're basically done with the offensive line. If someone just truly dynamic falls into place on the defensive line, you'll absolutely not turn them down. But we'll look at this breakdown tomorrow, because Thursday will kind of be an emptier day, and we will decide if Alabama still needs to keep shopping in the transfer portal. Do you need another wide receiver? Do you need another tight end? What do you need in the transfer portal? Do you need another linebacker? What can you find? I mean, what can you find in the transfer portal? That's going to be kind of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And so, yeah, we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow. Theo, you got any thoughts? What you getting into today? You got class. What's the class schedule look like so everybody can be thinking about you, praying for you?
So we've got Spanish class.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Very good.
I got that down pat. We got public speaking with Davion Hanna, which was a fun one.
So nudge Davion and ask him about Charles Bediako.
Yeah,
and then
right.
tomorrow you can say, well, somebody told me, and that'll be your cover. So we won't say, well, you won't have to say Davion told me.
There we go.
Well, I heard from someone.
Sources
Yeah,
report.
right.
Yeah, so we've got those. I've got a really long break on campus. So I've technically only got 2 classes, but I've got more on all the other days. But yeah, it's much rather just record the Joe Gaither show for 5 hours than set foot on campus. So that offer's ever on the table and take.
Well, we must do what we must do. And so we got to get out of here. You got to go to Spanish class. You got to get the inside scoop on Charles Bediako. We'll talk to all the people tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.